Like, I feel like if you're going to put your children on camera, like if you're going to present them, because honestly, anything you post on your page is like a commodity. You know, it's something that's being bought and sold, talked about or whatever, so you want to present it well, right? You know, it's almost like people going to a livestock show. Those young kids, I've seen the 4-H clubs at the livestock show. They spend a lot of time and energy preparing their stock to be presented. So why would we not invest that time into our children? That's just how I always felt. Good morning. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, July the 11th. Y'all, it's been a long week. We've been in vacation Bible school this week, so I had to, we cooked in the kitchen. Well, so 2 nights, and we planned it this way. 2 nights we had meals, and 2 nights, one night we had chili cheese dogs. One night we had baked chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans. The next night we had burgers. Last night we had chicken Alfredo, fettuccine, whatever we're gonna call it. And tonight we're just having like Frito pies, nachos, and we have more chili cheese dogs. But it's been fun. I'm hooked. That's our theme for this year. Yeah, but the kids had a good time. It's been good. We didn't have a turnout like I thought we should have. But maybe next time. A lot of people traveling, and you know, people would wish more people would get their kids involved in church, because it does make a difference. And y'all, it was so sad that my niece called me and told me that one of our family friends, well, actually it's my nephew's children's brother, got a murder charge. Hi, good morning. Could I have a large unsweet tea with mango and peach flavoring and a large cup of ice? That'll be all. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, this is a young, nice-looking, attractive young guy, and murdered somebody, a young man. I'm like, Lord have mercy, y'all. We got to give our kids back to Christ for real. I remember one of my cousins had lost her son, and she said, you know, I'm sad. She said, but God gave him to me, and now He's taking him back. I was like, Lord, I hadn't thought about it like that. But Wednesday night we had burgers. And so my deacon at the church, whose wife is a Sunday school superintendent, he took the week off, he told me. And so when he asked me what we were cooking, and I said burgers, and I called him. Well, they asked me the night before. I say, what y'all use to cook the burgers in? So what they had done, they had put the burgers, we got this big cooker thing. I think I showed it to y'all one time in the video. But anyway, he said, we put them in there. So he called me back, he said, hey, I'm off. He said, if I feel like I'm going to bring my 2 pits up there, and I do the burgers on the pit. And y'all, he did. When I tell you, that was some of the best grilled burgers I've had. It's the Sam seasoned burgers, right? And then he threw a little Tony season on top of them. Baby, when I tell you them burgers was good. And you know, being that I actually had one, I'm going to bring... I told the finance director at church, I said, shoot, I said, everybody on the tide this week, I said, because we done fed every night at the church. I said, it done save people a lot of money. Seriously. Think about it. If you got a family of 5 and you haven't had to cook a whole week, the money you saved. Man, look. So, yeah, and the nights that we had dinners, I actually baked cakes. I don't know, I just like, if I feed a person a dinner, I feel like I need to give them a dessert too. That's crazy, I know, but that's just how I am. So I baked 2 cakes each night. Y'all, guess what happened to me? I had to get up this morning and I went to go and get something out of my purse and couldn't find my purse. I had left my purse locked up in the church kitchen all night. I said, Lord have mercy. thank God that's where it was, huh? Oh my goodness. Hey y'all, happy Saturday. It's Saturday, July 11th, and I'm sitting here waiting on my son to get his hair cut. Y'all know he don't drive, but he got to stand an appointment every other week. It's one thing about we had vacation. It's one thing about a man or a woman, you know, keeping your appearance. Like, don't come on camera with white stuff in the crack of your eyes or on the side of your mouth or something in your nose. You know, check your appearance. But anyway, it's something about a man, you know, just having a lineup and all the hair out the face. So I remember my son, as a little boy, you know, I would take him every 2 weeks faithfully to get his hair cut. And if I wouldn't go that second week, well, actually, by the time it's time for that cut after that second week, he got his hairline. It's just, he didn't look well kept. You know what I'm saying? When he didn't have a fresh haircut, or when it was approaching that time to get one. You know, actually, he really could get one in a week and a half. And I see why some men, depending on their profession, get their haircut every week and make them look more professional. You know, especially if you're in the public eye and stuff. You know, but if that's not a part of your job to get in front of an audience and present yourself, then I can see you going a while. But like even me, you know, I try to keep like my hair done. Like I told y'all about that foaming pomade. Like I do my hair, I roller set it, you know. And by using that foaming pomade, it actually sets in the curl. Like this part of my hair last week at church, it wasn't all the way dry. But however it did dry, that's how it stayed the whole week. I didn't put anything on it today because I think I need to put a relaxer. Yeah, I still relax my hair, y'all, because if I wouldn't relax it, I couldn't do anything with it. But I was sitting here too. Well, back to that situation with the haircuts. Like, I feel like if you're going to put your children on camera, like if you're going to present them, because honestly, anything you post on your page is like a commodity. You know, it's something that's being bought and sold, talked about or whatever. So you want to present it well, right? You know, it's almost like people going to a livestock show. Those young kids, I've seen the 4-H clubs at the livestock show. They spend a lot of time and energy preparing their stock to be presented. So why would we not invest that time into our children? That's just how I always felt. I remember, you know, my children, when they were young, I combed their hair. I know how some people say, well, I comb their hair one day for the week. I couldn't do that unless they got braids. I was fortunate, though, when they got like in middle and high school, because my daughter's 4 years apart, my neighbor braided, and she did hair. So a couple of times I got her to do mine. I can't wear braids, but she would do the wave, and it was really pretty on me, too. And then when my older daughter learned how to do it, she waved the front, and then I think we curled the back. And then and I might try that here later. I used to take a piece right here and gel it down and then curl it. You know, and so when I take it out, it would be like this, but this would be gel down. I used to do that. It was pretty. Back then I was using that lotta body, but see that lotta body, you can't comb through that stuff. Those curls were locked in, but my hair would be pretty. It really would. But I was sitting out here, and across the street over there, it was a man on a tractor. He was cutting the grass or whatever. And it was some birds. And I wanted to get my camera out, but I didn't get it quick enough. The birds he was doing the yard, and it had birds on the side of him, on each side. And I said, Lord, isn't that something? I said, how is it that machines and animals can get along, but humans can't? And God gave us dominion over everything, but we can't get along. It's so sad. And you know, for me, I look at a person's character. I don't care what you look like, what you drive. How do you treat people? You know, what kind of heart do you have? I don't know why my eyes kind of watering today. How do you treat your fellow man? And that's why one person I really love and respect Shaq, because you always see Shaq doing something to uplift somebody else, and that's what God. That's how God wants us to live. I don't think that God intended for anybody to be poor, because the Bible even says the wealth of the wicked is stored for the just. So I feel like it shouldn't be super wealthy and extra poor. I just don't feel like that. I feel like you could be super wealthy, but everybody live a decent life. In other words, we could come up with ways. Like I saw where was it Qatar? Trump has a $400 million plane that they gifted to him. It shouldn't be no reason that the president of the United States get a $4 million plane and we got homeless people walking the street. I don't see that. A plane is something you don't use all the time, right? So that just saddened me, man. It really did. I was like, wow, this world we live in, man. People are so caught up on material possessions. Uh-oh. That they lose sight of what's really important. All right, y'all, I'm headed out. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I'll be back.